Happy equinox. So as we move into the week of September 23rd, we're in this really interesting period for at least the next couple of weeks. So we just had the eclipse on September 17th, and then we're going to have another eclipse on October 2nd. So this period in between is sort of like this portal where the energy can feel very intense. It can feel like a lot is being brought up for our sort of evaluation. We're meant to pause, take some time to look at what is being presented, and then come up or formulate a plan in order to move forward. But because we're going to be working with the vibration of the 12-3 this week, the week of September 23rd, it also brings in this quiet pause type of energy that says take some time to really sit with what you're being presented with, to really sit with the energies, to see how you feel about something before you commit to it or before you sort of formulate a plan and then initiate whatever it is that you're trying to initiate. There's a lot here about just really taking your time and having patience as you move through what's being presented. And what's being presented could be something quite tangible. It could be an opportunity that you have to decide if you want to do this opportunity or say yes to it. It could be a belief system that's coming up for evaluation to see, do you still believe what you believed before? Does there need to be a reframing there? There can be a lot that can come in this week, and it doesn't have to be those tangible things like relationships or career. It can absolutely be our value system, our belief system, things that may have been tripping us up previously. You know, the information or the sort of wisdom that comes in for us this week could really help us to move in a different direction or decide that we want to move in a direction and then create a plan to do so. One area that's really highlighted this week, especially with this 12-3 vibration, is that of authenticity. And we often hear that word kind of thrown around, right? But the 3 is not interested in fitting into the mold. It's not interested in doing things the way it's always been done. It's a type of energy that says we all have something unique within us that we are meant to share with the world. And we have to do that in our own unique way in order to get sustainable and successful results, right, for us. And so one thing that could come up for evaluation this week, and especially around these eclipses, is checking in to see when it comes to your relationships, when it comes to your outlook on life, when it comes to careers, whatever area of your life, where are you, like, what is your gauge for your success? And what is your gauge for how you approach whatever that is, right? So in other words, let's say that there was, I don't know, there's something that you wanted to market. Let's say you have a business and you want to market that business. There are surely going to be things that are tried and true that will give you great results, right? And you can do those things as long as they feel authentic for you, as long as they feel good. And there's something to be said for stepping outside of your comfort zone. But there's also, you have to be aware of, am I stepping outside of my comfort zone or am I being inauthentic, right? And so let me explain. So someone could have a marketing strategy for their business that works wonders for their business. And we could see that and be like, okay, if I do exactly what this person is doing, I'm going to get the same results. But let's say that what this person is doing feels really inauthentic for you. And it's more than, again, just stepping outside of your comfort zone. It doesn't feel good for you. You might, if you continue to force and follow that plan for whatever that is, you might get those same results that that person has received. But it's not going to be sustainable. And the reason why it's not going to be sustainable, it's because you're not going to feel aligned with it. It's not going to feel good. So let's say that you are following this plan that says you have to post 20 videos a day, right? Someone that you follow or, respect posts 20 videos a day and they get mad success from it. So you see that as, okay, if I post 20 videos a day, even though I don't like posting videos, then I'm going to get the same results. So you start to post 20 videos a day, right? But you hate posting 20 videos a day. You may eventually, if you continue to force and move down that path, you may get those same results. But at some point, you're truly going to burn out because you're not aligned with the process that you're moving through to get those results. And so the 3 says you can have those results, but find the way that works for you in order to achieve that, right? So maybe for you, it's not about posting 20 videos a day. Maybe for you, it's about, going to signing up for different speaking engagements, or, attending certain fairs or something like that. I don't know, right? But maybe for you, it looks very different, the path or the roadway to get to that success, right? So the 3 says, the energy that we're working with this week says, you have to, take the information that's being presented, right? Like there is probably a lot of, value and sustenance to that plan, right? It's obviously working for that individual. Take what resonates and then leave the rest and find your own way. Start to do things that feel good for you on that path, on that journey. Same thing with relationships, right? There is a set mold or a set idea of what relationships should look like, in life. And if you fall outside of that and you're unconventional in any way, you are seen as less than, or you're judged for that, or there's something wrong with you, etc., right? And we could talk about this area for hours. But the reality is that if you are forcing yourself to have relationships that look like the standard mold, but that doesn't feel aligned for you, you might get the results. And what I mean by the results here is the external validation, right? That, oh, you're doing great. You're, in this perfect relationship, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is it doesn't feel authentic for you. It doesn't feel good for you. The more unconventional way feels good for you. So the 3 says, explore the unconventional side then. Explore what feels good for you, as long as you're not harming self or others, right? But follow that inspiration. And same thing with, it could be this translates to everything, right? Again, career, creative projects, our belief systems, absolutely our belief systems, right? We can either have our own belief systems that feel good for us, that feel aligned for us, or we can try to conform those belief systems based on what other people are telling us to believe, based on what society has constructed as the norm, or what is, again, the proper way to have a belief system, right? Or what to believe. So the 3, I'm kind of just high level overview, giving an overview of all this, right? But the reality of the 3 is it's going to force us to look at where is it that we are just mimicking what other people tell us to do, or what other people have done because it worked for them, or they said it worked for them, or they're getting the results that we want to see. Where have we sort of conformed and molded ourselves into that standard when it goes completely against what feels right for us? You know what I mean? So this week is going to give you an opportunity, or give us an opportunity, to really explore those areas of how we can do it different, but how we can do it in a way that is aligned for us. So again, you can go back to any area of your life where you're doing something to get the same results that someone else has received, but you're not getting the same results, or you are, but in order to do that, you have to change who you are, right? So the 3 says, be uniquely you. Find your own unique way to achieve what it is that you want to achieve. Take the morsels, take the wisdom, take the pieces that do align with you and that do fit for you to achieve whatever you're trying to achieve, but also break free from that a little bit and explore what works for you, because you will, in that process, find your level of success, find what feels good for you, and that is sustainable, right? So yeah, very interesting energies this week, but also really pushing us to not only be authentic, but figure out what that authenticity is for us, for ourselves. And then again, to kind of mingle along with what else we're being presented with, to merge those energies and create something that we feel good about and that's sustainable, that we can maintain, right? The other thing I would say, this is a beautiful week for contemplation for practical application of ideas and ventures. I'm checking my notes because I don't want to miss anything here. But this is, again, such a beautiful time to really pause and contemplate. This isn't necessarily a great couple of weeks for initiating something or really going all in on something. You can certainly you can, if you need to send something off, like a proposal or something like that, this is a great week to do that, as long as you've really thought about the alignment and how it feels for you, right? Just make sure that what you're putting out, what you're entertaining, what it is that you're participating in, feels good for you, feels authentically true for you. Of course, in life, there's going to be things that we have to kind of do that we don't want to do, right? So that we can get to a point where we can do what we want to do. But we always have control over that process. And if something doesn't feel good for us, we don't have to do it. We can find a better way that works for us to do it. So again, this is a great week for that, for figuring that out, for exploring that, for pausing and taking some time. But if you've done that, and then this is also a great week for sending in those proposals, for launching something that feels authentically true for you. And what you'll find is, though it may take time to get there, you can absolutely see success from that process, right? It might take a little bit longer because it's not tried and true. It's something new that you're trying for yourself. But you can absolutely get there, and you can modify it as you go. So this is such a great week for that. So in one of my notes, I said, discern between what works for everyone else and what actually works for you. And I think that's the biggest sort of key point and keynote this week, is that discernment and really figuring that out and facing those fears of, well, if I don't do it this way, then I'm not going to see the same results, or I'm not going to see the success, or I'm whatever, or I'm going to fail in some way. And I think we have to follow that guidance, follow that, that intuition to say, you know what, this doesn't feel good. This does feel good. So let me continue down this path to see what I can achieve this way, and face those fears of things not working out, or not working out as quickly, or not seeing the instant gratification or whatever. But knowing that this way, when you achieve that success, is going to be way more sustainable than if you were to go down a path that you're just simply doing to get the results that somebody else has received, right? By doing it exactly the same way. And you could very well see those same results, but I would argue that it is not going to be sustainable because it's not fully aligned for you, right? So it's a kind of a merging of those practices and figuring out what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and not get thrown into this box that social media and society tries to throw us into and say, this is the only way of doing it. And if you don't do it this way, you're not going to see results. That's bullshit. You will absolutely see results, and you will see the results that are best aligned for you on your journey. It might just take a little bit longer, right? The other thing I would say is, one thing that we get caught up on sometimes is, once we've invested a tremendous amount of time or energy or resources into something, it can be really hard to shift gears. It can be really hard to change directions. And this energy is really part of the point of this period for contemplation, or for sort of, that quiet pause, is to say, do we feel good about the journey that we're on? Do we feel good about the progress? Do we feel good about what it is that we're achieving through our actions, right? Through how we're participating and how we're engaged. And if we don't, then this is such a great week for a redirect, for rerouting, right? No matter how much time, energy, commitment we've put into something, this is a really great week for changing directions. If the direction we're moving in is not serving us, if we're not seeing the results that we want to see. And it can go back to, again, someone that you follow has great results doing X, Y, or Z. So you've been trying to duplicate that and you're not seeing the results. Well, this is a great week to evaluate that, to take a closer look, to do some contemplation, and to see, okay, where is it that I'm aligned with this process, and where is it that I absolutely am not? Let me shift gears in the areas that I am not aligned. And this is such a great week to do that, no matter how much time and energy and money and resources you've invested into something. If it doesn't feel aligned for you, if you don't feel it from your heart center, it's not heart led, and your intuition is telling you change direction, this is a great week to change direction. And you have the green light to do that. You always have the green light to do that. But it can be really hard because, we come from a society, for the most part, right? Western world society where it's all about hustle and, deadlines and making things happen and committing and all this stuff and being loyal to that commitment and seeing it through to completion. But it kind of leaves out that part of checking in with yourself to make sure that you feel aligned with what it is that you're committing and investing all your time and energy on this planet towards, right? So this is a great week, and for the next couple of weeks in between these eclipses, to really evaluate any area of your life where it is that you've invested time and energy, your resources, you're participating in it, but it doesn't align with your why. This is a great week to figure out how to change direction and reroute, because that rerouting is what's going to give you the most success and the most fulfillment and the most alignment with whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. So yeah, I would say this is definitely a great week to pause, take a close look at that, and again, move through any of the fears or shame or self-doubt that might come up for you around that rerouting, because there will likely be those feelings that come up. That's just sort of how we've been conditioned to move through things. But honor that, right? There's legitimacy to that. You've invested a lot of time and energy into whatever. But if your heart's not in it, if it doesn't feel aligned for you, if it doesn't feel for you, and if it doesn't align with your why, then the question becomes, why are you continuing to move forward on that path? And really kind of explore that and take the time to dissect that a little bit to make sure that if you continue on that path, you're just going to continue to, put in more time, energy, resources into it and get further along the road on a road that you really don't want to be on. So this is a great week to explore that. The other thing with the 3 that's interesting is it can bring in this sort of like getting thrown in the spotlight or being seen or this need to be seen. And I think one thing that can come up for evaluation is to check in with yourself to see, we all want to be seen. We all want to be heard. We all want to be acknowledged, right? That's a human desire. And that's a very real value, valid thing that humans want to do, right? But the question becomes, how do you want to be seen? And why do you want to be seen in that way, right? And so what I mean by that is, and it comes back to authenticity. If you are putting something out or presenting yourself in a way that doesn't feel authentic simply because you want to be seen and you want that validation from the external that you are being seen, right? The question becomes, are you fulfilled and happy with how you're being seen, right? Are you fulfilled and happy with the messages you're putting out, with your actions, with whatever? We live in this period of social media where nowadays it's let's just post whatever it is, the most ridiculous thing, so that we can be seen and have our few moments of fame. But then the question is do you want to be known for that? Or do you want to be known for something that feels really, truly authentic for you? And so I think there's some opportunities here to really take a closer look at how we present ourselves, and do we feel good about that? And what's sort of at the core of that? Why are we presenting ourselves in that way? Is it to fill a void that needs to be filled? Or is it truly authentically because we have something to share and we want to spread that across the world type of thing, blah, 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 and be seen in that way and be respected in that way? So there's a lot that could come up with around this. And it's not to shame those who are doing something a certain way. It's just to say, if they feel good about that, great, then they're aligned with it, and who's to judge that? But really this energy is saying, for us individually, we need to take a moment and just reflect on, do we feel good about what we're putting out into the world and what we're being seen for? And if we do, great. But if we don't, this is a great week to reroute. Relationships could be at the forefront this week. So this is a great time for collaboration, for networking, for truly seeing and acknowledging your strengths, but also where your weaknesses are or your limitations, right? So where it is that you may have some limitations, and I say may, we all have limitations, right? That's just part of life. And that's very normal and healthy. But this is a great time to see where your limitations are, and then call in the support system that you need to help you with those limitations, to either work with them, overcome them, or just, manage them in some way. But you're not meant to sort of force where it is you have limitations to make it so you can do everything on your own. We're definitely meant to acknowledge our strengths and put our energy into those strengths and continue to build on those strengths, while also acknowledging our weaknesses or our limitations, and then collaborating and networking and connecting with others in order to help us to close those gaps. And that's beautiful, and that helps us to work smarter, not harder, and also helps us to be truly authentic in sharing what it is that we feel most aligned with, because that's where our strength's going to be, right? Beautiful energy there. And it creates this beautiful balance between independence and interdependency. So we're not just on this island trying to do everything ourselves. We recognize where we really excel, and that's where we can really put our energy and focus into, especially if we have people on our team or that can help us where we have limitations, right? Then we're not investing so much energy into the place where we have the limitation. We can actually put our energy towards where we have the strengths, right? Which is where we're going to benefit the most and where other people are going to benefit the most from what we have to offer. So this is a great week to really recognize where those limitations lie for you, and then kind of figure out how can you get that support and ask for that support and receive that support in order to, again, help to bridge that gap. Because that's where you're likely going to see the most success, is when you can connect with others, collaborate with others, work well with others, and not see it as like it makes you less than because you have limitations. It simply is like, okay, these are my limitations. Let me call in the reinforcements to help me with this so that I can move forward in a really balanced way. The other thing is you could see some healing come up around relationships. You could see like this kind of push-pull energy between that independence and that interdependence, and finding that balance so that you're not codependent, but you're not also hyper independent. You're finding that authenticity for where you can express yourself in your own autonomy and in a way that feels really good and authentic for you. But you're also connecting with others in a way that you're offering support, but you're also receiving that support as well. So you could see past relationships come up this week, especially around eclipse season, that we either can heal at this time or we can release in a really healthy way, if we choose to, right? As I always say, the energy can be present. It's what we choose to do with it that makes the difference. So choose wisely. But you could see relationships, because again, it's at 12, so 1 and 2, come up at this time and kind of have you look at, or again, evaluate, where is it that maybe we've been too hyper independent? Where is it that maybe we've been too codependent? Where is it that we can kind of balance those energies out and have a healthy balance between that independence and the interdependence? So beautiful energies this week, really a lot of self-contemplation, a lot of building blocks for greater self-awareness to make sure that as we continue to move forward along our path, that we're doing it in a way that feels best for us, that feels most aligned for us, so that we can build on our strengths and get those strengths out into the world while also getting the support for those limitations. So beautiful energy. Hope it's a great week for you all. Take care. Thanks so much for being here. Bye for now.